Are you serious? Are you serious? Guys, we have breaking news, and really, this is huge, huge prophecy news. Huge prophecy alert, and it's breaking right now, and it's blowing my mind, but I'm going to share it with you, what's happening in the Holy Land, what's happening in the Middle East, and it includes Europe, and really, it's touching the world with the Bible. It really is. Give me 1 second here. Let me first a real quick shout, if I could, for PastorPaulGold.com. That's www.PastorPaulGold.com. Time is running out. Citigroup is predicting that gold is going to hit $3,000 by 2025. Every day you could, it will cost you. Every moment of hesitation is a lost opportunity. Every maybe tomorrow puts you further behind. Noble Gold Investment is your path to the future, your guide to what's coming, your partner in prosperity. Don't wait till it hits $3,000 for gold. Visit right now, www.PastorPaulGold.com. That's www.PastorPaulGold.com. Click on the link below and roll over that 401k or get a gold or silver IRA. And if you do, they're going to give you 10 of these 1 ounce silver American Eagle coins for everyone. Look, here, I'm just going to, my sample's on the way. This is what I'm talking about. This one beautiful 1 ounce silver American Eagle coin. Here's the back of it. And they'll give you 10 of these for free. So do it now. Pick up the phone and call them at 877-646-5347. You will be extremely glad that you did, all right? Extremely glad that you did. All right, here's what's going on, guys. We have a prophecy alert. We have breaking news alert. We have just some incredible, and you talk about spiritual warfare. It's really starting. It's happening so fast now that it's hard to keep up with it. That's why we're doing this webinar on Friday, December 6th. Get your tickets. Go to my website. Get your tickets today. And if you need help with that, simply pick up the phone and call right now, 765-414-2230. I'm sorry about that. 765-414-2230. Get your tickets right now. Here's what's happening. Emmanuel Macron, I just want to say this. In 2018, I interviewed Dr. Irvin Baxter for my television show, and in the conversation, and he and I did 8 different television shows together on my channel, and I did 2 with him on his. He gave me his top 10 Antichrist list, his top 10. 2 of his top 10 have just got together and are getting ready to move a huge biblical milestone. That's French President Emmanuel Macron and Saudi Arabian Crown Prince, the Saudi Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman. Macron has just announced that France and Saudi Arabia are going to have formed a partnership to co-host a conference on creating the Palestinian state. This is gigantic news. Emmanuel Macron has just announced that France and Saudi Arabia have formed a partnership to co-host a conference on creating a Palestinian state. You talk about, but I notice here, I don't see the United States or Israel. Now, the French president said that this conference would take place in June of 2025. Are you serious? And he highlighted the need for a diplomatic initiative to achieve a mutual recognition between Israel and Palestine. French President Emmanuel Macron announced that he and Saudi Arabia's de facto ruler, the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, would co-chair a conference on the establishment of a Palestinian state in June of 2025. We have decided to co-chair this conference for a 2-state solution to be held in June of 2025, Macron said. referring to Israel and its potential Palestinian state. In the coming months, together, we will multiply and combine our diplomatic initiatives to bring everyone along this path. Responding to a question on whether France would recognize a Palestinian state, the French president said he would do so at the right moment and at a time when it triggers reciprocal movements of recognition. We want to involve several other partners and allies, both Europe and non-European, who are ready to move in this direction, but who are waiting for France. Are you serious? This guy thinks he is like the leader of the world. He's saying the whole world's waiting on France to make the declaration of a two-state solution, both European and non-European nations. Macron explained that there is a simultaneous aim to trigger a movement of recognition in favor of Israel. He's saying we're waiting for the moment to trigger the moment and a movement to recognize Israel as a nation. Israel's been a nation, Macron. They've been a nation for almost 77 years. Are you serious? Which he said could provide answers in terms of security for Israel and convince people that a two-state solution is a solution that is relevant for Israel. Now, I have to stop right there to tell you a story. Then I was in Israel back in 2017, 2018. I can't remember the exact year, but I was asked to come to the Knesset to meet with, at that time, member of the Knesset, Rabbi Yehuda Glick, at his office. And I did. And in this meeting, I brought up the fact that in France, and I should go back and look at my notes on which exact year that was, but at the exact moment I was in Rabbi Yehuda Glick's office in the Knesset, I told him that right now in Paris, France, 20 nations are gathered, mapping out and drawing out a two-state solution. It was being done in France, in Paris. And when I said that to him, he slammed his desk and said, "No, it will not happen. They will never divide the land." And I was like, whoa, I'm on your side. I'm just telling you what they're doing, okay? Well, here we are, 7 years later. Macron is announcing that in 2025, in June of 2025, they are going to have a conference on the establishment of a two-state solution in the Holy Land. Now, Saudi Arabia has appeared very close to a deal to normalizing their relations with Israel. And then all of a sudden, Hamas attacked Israel on October the 7th, 2023, which has sparked nearly 14 months of war in Gaza. But Saudi Arabia has indicated it is unwilling to move ahead with this normalization with Israel campaign because of the war taking place in Gaza. And so they've hardened their position in recent months, and they are saying they would not recognize Israel and build and sign a peace agreement with Israel until there's an independent Palestinian state. They were so close to signing the Abraham Accords. They were very close when Trump was in office the first time. Then they got very close again in October of 2023. And I think this is one of the reasons, along with the 5 red heifers that were brought in from Texas into Israel, is one of the reasons that they were, of course, that's the reason Hamas says that they attacked Israel was because of the 5 red heifers. But I think besides the 5 red heifers that were needed for the dedication of the third temple, the ashes of the heifer, there was also the fact that Saudi Arabia was getting ready to sign a peace deal and join the Abraham Accords. That ended when the war began in October 7th of 2023. Now Trump's going to come back into office. But you see what Macron's doing. Before Trump can get in office, he is trying to upstage him by setting up some type of conference in June to create a two-state solution. Trump is saying there will be no two-state solution. And at the same time, Trump is working with Saudi Arabia. And really, he's using his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who's very close to Mohammed bin Salman in business arrangements, to try to bring Saudi Arabia into the Abraham Accords. So we're watching prophecy here. We may see Trump get upstaged here and get run past by Macron. And remember, Macron was Dr. Irvin Baxter's number one man to watch to become the AC. Meanwhile, one of the other guys that's high on the list right now is Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. He's the number one guy on Standale's list. And so it's really interesting that these two guys are together trying to put together. Here it is. So they also did this. Macron and Saudi Crown Prince signed a strategic partnership calling for Lebanon elections. Okay? So they're trying to get in right now. Sorry about that. I left that phone ringing. Is this the man? That's right. That's what BP Earthwatch is asking. Is this the man? Well, that's a great question. And I think that's why I've been watching these guys for a long time as well. I think this is why this is happening. President Emmanuel Macron and Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman have signed a strategic partnership aimed at deepening their bilateral ties and de-escalating the conflict in the Middle East, including Lebanon, where the two leaders called for presidential elections. The French leader arrived in Saudi Arabia, Macron did, Monday for a 3-day state visit, just as the political crisis threatens to topple his French government. Let me just say something. His government, his own government, is about ready to come apart in France. They're about ready to vote him out. Yet he's running over to Saudi Arabia trying to create a two-state solution as if he's immune to the situation back home in France. And meanwhile, Trump has chosen Charles Kushner to be the ambassador of the United States for France. What? And Kushner, of course, Kushner is a close friend of Mohammed bin Salman of Saudi Arabia. And now we've got Macron in Saudi Arabia. And they're calling for elections to be held. He might want to go home and make sure he's even going to be the leader of France. But Macron arrived in Saudi Arabia for a 3-day state visit as his political crisis threatens to topple his French government. After a meeting with Prince Mohammed, the de facto ruler of the oil-rich Gulf Kingdom, Emmanuel Macron's office announced the signing of a new partnership aimed at improving cooperation in defense, in energy transition, in culture, in mobility between the two countries. This is unbelievable. The two leaders also agreed to make every effort to contribute to de-escalation in the region, including helping to consolidate the fragile ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon. Together, they called for the holding of a presidential election in Lebanon with the aim of bringing the Lebanese people together and carrying out the reforms necessary for the stability and security of the country. The statement was from Emmanuel Macron's office. Macron touched down in Saudi Arabia's capital on Monday, where he was greeted by the honor guard of a sword-holding serviceman and celebratory cannon fire as he disembarked from his plane. He did not comment on the political situation in his own country of France, when he arrived. Macron's visit began as France's less than 3-month-old minority government faced the prospect of being forced out by a vote of no confidence coming in the next few days. The far-right National Rally Party said it would vote to oust Michael Barnier's government after the prime minister used an executive tool to push through a Social Security budget bill without the parliamentary approval. The left wing is also expected to back this motion, which could be held as early as today. If successful, it would oust the government that was appointed in September after 2 snap polls. Macron's 3-day stay also coincides with a flare-up of violence in Syria, as we know is happening, where anti-government rebels have seized Aleppo, and that is the country's second largest city. Now, who's doing that? Well, the Turkish rebels. Erdogan's rebels just took over Aleppo in Syria. The fighting in Syria now follows France's brokering of a ceasefire in the neighboring country of Lebanon, where Israel's been fighting Iran's proxy terrorist group, Hezbollah. Now, Emmanuel Macron's state visit is the first by a French president to Saudi Arabia since 2006, cementing what the presidency calls a very close relationship. In 2021, Macron became one of the first Western leaders to meet Prince Mohammed bin Salman in Saudi Arabia after the 2018 murder of the Saudi Arabian journalist Jamal Khashoggi and it happened in the Saudi Arabian consulate in Istanbul, Turkey. Remember when that happened? That guy got cut into 1,000 pieces and packed out of there. The French president and Prince Mohammed will see how they work together on the conflicts shaking the region, with Lebanon at the heart of the discussions. And the French presidency said in an earlier statement, Macron is hoping for Saudi Arabian support for the Lebanese army, which is being deployed toward the border with Israel under a ceasefire, but is poorly armed and poorly trained. He will also try to win Saudi Arabians' help to reverse the political disintegration that has plunged Lebanon's government and economy in a catastrophe. Paris and the Saudi Arabian government has also calling for a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip war and a political outcome based on a 2-state solution of separate Israeli and Palestinian states. Saudi Arabia is home to the most holiest Islamic site and has paused discussions with Washington on potentially recognizing Israel in return for deeper security and bilateral ties with the United States. In September, the Saudi Crown Prince hardened his position, insisting that Saudi Arabia would not establish or sign the Abraham Accords with Israel before the creation of a Palestinian state. And Macron has been accompanied by 50 senior officials from major French companies, including Total Energies and EDF and Veolia, as well as startup companies of artificial intelligence and quantum physics. France and Saudi Arabia aim to significantly strengthen their economic ties to the height of our shared ambition, the president said. And discussions are underway for Saudi Arabia to acquire French-made fighter jets, although no announcement was expected during this visit, but they are talking about it. Okay, so having said all of that, we've got this major move by Emmanuel Macron. Macron is trying to circumvent Trump before President Trump gets in office. Macron is running around stirring the pot. He wants to control Israel. He wants to create a 2-state solution. He wants to take control of Lebanon and put in the president he wants there by hosting the elections for them along with Saudi Arabia. He's trying to slow down Saudi Arabia from signing the peace accords with Israel. He's trying to build he wants to control the entire Middle East, basically. He's acting like he is the king of the world. And this is exactly what Dr. Irvin Baxter said. I mean, I wrote about it in my book even, Revelation 9:11, how I had these long discussions with Irvin Baxter. We talked about Bible prophecy, including Emmanuel Macron, not only on a television show, but off the record, even sitting in his office there in Dallas, Texas. And I wrote this in this book. Guys, Emmanuel Macron, he's everywhere. He's trying to control the Middle East. He's trying to get ahead of Trump before Trump and his initiative to create a Middle East peace arrangement, which would include no two-state solution, but would include great economic benefits for everybody in the region that plays along, including Saudi Arabia. So this is very interesting how this is playing out, but it's in my book. If you haven't got a copy of my book, you need to go get it right now. Go to Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com or Books A Million or Target or Walmart.com, but at Amazon.com, you can get a copy of this and go ahead and get 5 copies. You need to get 4 of these. Get one for yourself and maybe get some more extras to give to some of your family members or friends. Make a great Christmas gift of prophecy, because what I wrote in here, along with my co-author, Troy Anderson, 2 years worth of research to put this thing together. It's coming to pass. The vortex of evil, the very nations we talk about, Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, and of course, the emergence of Macron. It is unbelievable. But it was prophecy being fulfilled right before our very eyes. I'm telling you, it's just incredible what God is doing. And so we're watching these prophetic events take place following exactly the Bible. Unbelievable. Get some coffee. Calm down. Get your ticket for the spiritual war. We talk about this in this webinar. We talk about spiritual warfare over the Middle East, spiritual warfare in post-election America, spiritual warfare in Europe, spiritual warfare in the church, witchcraft in the church, all of it right here.
Saturday was silent, and surely it was through. Since when has impossible ever stopped you? And Friday's disappointment is Sunday's empty tomb. Since when has impossible ever stopped you? This is the sound of a dry bones rattling. This is the praise make a dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. Pentecostal fire, stirring something new. You're not gonna run out of miracles anytime soon.
Glory!
Your resurrection power, it runs in my veins too. I believe there's another miracle here in this room. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. This is the praise make a dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling.
Wow, are you serious? Rattle!
My God is able to save and deliver and heal and restore anything that He wants to.
Prophecies of the end times are happening right now. Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. Prophesy and say to them, thus saith the Lord God, behold, my people, I will open your graves and cause you to come up from your graves and bring you into the land of Israel. Then you shall know that I am the Lord, and I will put my spirit in you, and I will place you in your own land, and you shall live. I will place you in your own land. You shall live, 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 live. So true. In the Bible, the prophecy of Ezekiel 37, Israel becoming a nation again, prophesied all throughout the Old Testament, the return. It happened, of course, and the bones come back together again. A mighty, mighty army, a mighty, mighty nation of Israel. But the cup of trembling. Let me just say, get your tickets for the spiritual webinar, the spiritual warfare. Now, Heidi Begley is bringing you a presentation that's going to blow your mind. And Bart Begley he's did a documentary on the Apostle Paul, his letter to the church at Ephesus, in which he tells the church at Ephesus to put on the whole armor of God. Why did he write this letter? And do you know the historical situation behind what was happening at the time Paul wrote the letter to the church of Ephesus, and why he would tell them to put on a whole armor of God? It's a phenomenal documentary. I got to give Bart Begley a ton of credit. It's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. And also, let me just say that Mike Around the World's presentation is his best presentation, or I'm going to say his best 1 hour interview that I've ever had with him in 12 years. That's how good it is. And so he touches on post-election America, the spiritual warfare on post-election America. And he drops several bombs in this one of truth bombs all over the place. Stuff you don't know and I didn't know. He breaks it out in this webinar because he can talk a whole lot more freer at the webinar. So you don't want to miss this. Now, look, you can get your ticket by going to www.paulbegleyprophecy.com. That's www.paulbegleyprophecy.com. Or if you need help just getting the ticket, pick up the phone and call. You can order the ticket right over the phone. Call this number, 765-414-2230. That's our main line, 765-414-2230. And let us order your ticket right over the phone, and let's get you signed in so it's real easy. So then all you got to do, and you'll be able to watch it right on my website. You'll be able to watch the entire webinar right on the website. Real easy. So get your tickets. Go there, order your ticket yourself if you want to do it that way. Or, because either way, it's going to work. Or if you need some help, maybe you're not real savvy with the computer, call the number, 765-414-2230. If the line is busy, wait 5 minutes, call again. Okay? But get your ticket. You got 2 days left. Guys, seriously, you got 2 days left. There's only we're almost at the 48-hour mark now. It is time to get the tickets. It's time to tell your friends to get a ticket for this webinar. It's the final webinar of the year. You guys know that I put these together, bring in the best speakers on each individual subject. I don't always get people that I agree with either. I like to get different opinions to give you a more rounded, more accessible information, so you can make up your mind or at least help you understand. So I do that. I'm not afraid to let people voice their opinion on anything that's even if I don't quite agree with it, or even if I don't agree with it, I'll still allow that, because it's a freedom of speech, and it's the ability to let people make up their own minds. Plus, just because I'm saying that I feel it's this way doesn't mean I'm right. How about that one? How many times last time you heard a preacher say, "Well, I could be wrong"? I'm a big enough boy to say that. I could be wrong. I don't think so, but I could, and I probably am every now and then. Okay, leap year comes around once every 4 years, so. No, anyway, seriously, I like to give people different opinions. These folks in this webinar, Mondo de la Vega, unbelievable, and you see him sometimes on a lot of times now hosting the Jim Bakker show. He's the adopted son of Jim Bakker. A tremendous Lester Sumrall, Dr. Lester Sumrall's grandson. He is so smooth in this one. He answers the questions so well, so intelligently, with so much experience. And he tells you quite a few stories about when he went traveling the world with his grandfather, 40 different nations that he went with his grandfather. His grandfather preached in 139 different nations of the world. I'm just saying, guys, the information is incredible. Larry Ragland today, I just interviewed Larry Ragland today for this webinar. Off the chain, incredible. And these, a lot of the discussion was about the demons attacking the spiritual warfare that we're in individually, your family, your finances, your friends, your faith. All of it gets challenged by the devil, and how to recognize the enemy and how to defeat the enemy within. What about witchcraft in the church? That is dealt with in this webinar. And then the post-election America, the battle that's going on. And you can see this, it's intensifying. And there's several different guys talk about that. And we even talk about the Middle East, the spiritual warfare and physical warfare of the Middle East. The same thing, we talk about the spiritual warfare and the physical warfare going on in Europe and around the world. But the demons from hell, Lucifer has unleashed. Apollyon has come out of the pit, and he's releasing the demons and the mystery of the Babylon. I mean, seriously, guys, this is the last day. So get your tickets right now. Go there quickly. Go to paulbegleyprophecy.com. Get it done. This is a webinar. You are going to say, thank you, Pastor Paul, for putting this one together. This is a right now word. I'll be back with more current world events and how they relate to biblical prophecy. I'll be back in a little bit here. There's more breaking. This is incredible information today I just shared with you. It really is. But there's more taking place. And I'm going to be co-hosting tonight with Pastor Melvin Whittington on the Getting Ready show over at www.ffctv.church. So you don't want to miss that either. That starts at 7 o'clock tonight. So don't miss that. But I'll be back in a few minutes with another update. We're in the end times. We really are. Are you saved? Have you given your life to Jesus Christ? For with the heart man believes unto righteousness, and with the mouth confession is made unto salvation. For by grace are you saved through faith. It's not in ourselves. It's a gift of God. Let me say it again. It's a gift of God. One more time. It's a gift of God. It's not of works. At least anyone would boast about their religion. Oh, and someone said, what is Macron's religion? Macron has no religion. He is agnostic today. He was baptized a Catholic at the age of 12 at his own request. But since then has fallen from the faith and has become non-religious, agnostic. That is where he stands. God bless.